You need to wake up to the reality that you and the narcissist are operating in two completely different worlds. You enter a conversation assuming there is a shared goal of understanding, kindness, and mutual respect. You believe that if you just use the right words or show enough empathy, the other person will meet you halfway. This is your first and most dangerous mistake. You are playing a game of connection, but they are playing a game of total dominance. To a narcissist, your empathy isn't a bridge, it's a target. They don't see your vulnerability as something to cherish, they see it as a weakness to exploit. While you are trying to solve a problem, they are trying to win a war. The moment you open your mouth to share your feelings, you think you're engaging in a healthy exchange, but to them, that conversation is nothing more than a battlefield. Their primary objective in every single interaction is to secure power, demand admiration, and force you into a state of submission. They aren't interested in the truth or in reaching a compromise that makes you both happy. They will twist your words, rewrite history, and gaslight you into doubting your own eyes and ears without a single shred of guilt. They don't feel bad about hurting you because, in their mind, their need for control justifies any level of cruelty. You are waiting for a light bulb moment where they suddenly realize they've been unfair, but that moment is never coming. Stop telling yourself the lie that being, quote, kinder, more patient, or more understanding will eventually fix the situation. That is a pure fantasy that will only leave you emotionally bankrupt. You cannot love someone into being a decent person if they have no interest in decency. Narcissists are fundamentally incapable of learning from your tears, your logical explanations, or your moral appeals. They don't care that you're hurting. They only care if they're winning. The only language they truly understand and respect is the language of consequences. If there is no cost to their behavior, they will never stop. If you keep giving them, quote, one more chance, you are simply giving them one more opportunity to destroy your peace. If you want to stop being manipulated, you have to stop being a listener and start being an observer. Narcissists are world-class performers. They are masters at voicing exactly what you long to hear the moment they feel you slipping away. They will look you dead in the eye and promise the world. They will swear they've changed. They'll offer fake apologies that sound incredibly sincere, and they'll even play the broken victim to trigger your need to nurture them. These are not signs of growth. They are tools of retention. They are throwing out hoovering tactics to keep you stuck in their drama. Their words are a smokescreen designed to keep you from seeing the wreckage they've caused in your life. The secret to breaking the spell is simple. Ignore everything they say and watch everything they do. Words are cheap and easy to fake, but a pattern of behavior is the absolute truth. If they tell you they respect you, but they continue to lie, move the goalposts, and dismiss your boundaries, the disrespect is the reality. If they promise to be more present, but they only show up when they want something from you, the selfishness is the reality. You have to stop falling in love with their potential or the person they pretend to be during the good phases. Those versions of them aren't real. The real person is the one who consistently treats you with manipulation and coldness when the masks slip. When you finally start judging them based on their consistent actions instead of their empty promises, the fog of confusion will begin to lift. You'll stop asking, "Why did they say that?" and start realizing, this is just what they do. A narcissist uses words to build a beautiful cage, but their actions are the bars that keep you trapped. Once you see the pattern, the manipulation loses its power. You stop being a player in their scripted game and start seeing the situation for what it actually is. A cycle of abuse that thrives on your willingness to believe the lie. Trust the pattern, because the pattern never lies. You have to realize that your natural desire for connection is being used as a weapon against you. As humans, we are biologically programmed to seek harmony and understanding in our relationships. But when you apply that healthy instinct to a narcissist, it becomes a deadly trap. You fall into the habit of over-explaining your heart, your motives, and your pain, thinking that if you just find the perfect combination of words, they will finally have a breakthrough and see your value. You keep waiting for that moment of shared clarity where they say, "I finally understand how much I've hurt you." But here is the cold, hard truth. They aren't listening to understand you. They are listening to find ammunition. They don't want to get it because understanding you would require them to give up their control over you. In the eyes of a narcissist, your constant effort to explain yourself isn't seen as a sign of your patience or your good character. It is seen as absolute proof that they own your emotional state. Every time you spend hours defending your reputation or pleading for them to see your side, you are essentially telling them that their opinion of you matters more than your own reality. You are handing them the remote control to your self-worth. Every time you bend yourself into a pretzel to avoid their disapproval or to keep the peace, you are simply validating their belief that they are the master and you are the subordinate. You think you're being a fixer, but in their world, you are just being compliant. To keep you in this state of perpetual submission, the narcissist will constantly shift the goalposts. The moment you think you've finally met their standards or done enough to earn a scrap of their praise, they will invent a new rule or bring up a fresh grievance. They do this intentionally so that you are always left feeling not enough. It keeps you running on a hamster wheel of seeking their validation, a prize they have no intention of ever giving you. You must internalize this one fact to save your sanity. Their inability to treat you with respect or value your presence is not a judgment of your worth as a human being. It is a direct symptom of their deep-seated psychological brokenness. They are a bottomless pit that no amount of your love, explanation, or approval seeking can ever fill. If you want to win the war for your peace of mind, you have to stop feeding the monster. Narcissists thrive on emotional energy. It is their supply. They don't care if that energy is positive or negative, they just want a reaction. Whether you are crying in frustration, screaming in anger, or calmly trying to use logic to defend yourself, you are giving them exactly what they want. They provoke you because your reaction is the ultimate confirmation of their power. They want to see that they can pull your strings and make you dance whenever they choose. To stop this cycle, you must learn the art of emotional detachment, a technique known as gray rocking. Gray rocking means you consciously choose to become as uninteresting, as boring, and as unresponsive as a literal rock on the ground. When they toss out a baiting comment or a ridiculous accusation designed to make you explode, you refuse to take the hook. You stop offering long explanations and start giving short, non-committal answers like, "Okay, I see," or "That's your opinion." You provide zero facial expressions, zero tears, and zero defensiveness. You become a boring source of supply. When you stop giving them the high-octane emotional drama they crave, you become a useless tool for their ego. They want a spark so they can start a fire, but if you remain cold and stone-like, there is nothing for them to burn. This process is not about being cold-hearted, it's about strategic self-preservation. You are choosing to keep your precious emotional energy for yourself and your own healing, rather than wasting it on a person who uses it to hurt you. It will feel strange at first, and they will likely try even harder to provoke you once they notice you're pulling away. But you must remain firm. When you stop defending yourself against their lies, you are sending a powerful, silent message. Your words no longer have the power to move me. Eventually, the narcissist will realize they can't get their fix from you anymore. They will get bored, they will lose their leverage, and they will eventually move on to look for a more reactive target. That is the moment you reclaim your freedom and your life. You have to understand that a narcissist does not view a boundary the same way a healthy person does. To a normal person, a boundary is a sign that says stop. To a narcissist, a boundary is a starting gun. It is a direct challenge to their authority and a test of how much they can get away with. If you tell a narcissist, "I won't let you speak to me like that," they don't think, "Oh, I should be more respectful." They think, "How dare you try to control me? I'll show you who's really in charge." This is why setting a boundary without a concrete consequence is actually worse than having no boundary at all. When you state a limit but fail to act when they cross it, you are effectively training them to ignore you. You are teaching them that your words are just empty noise and that if they push hard enough, you will eventually fold. You must stop talking about your boundaries and start being your boundaries. The moment you actually start standing your ground, you need to prepare yourself for what is known as an extinction burst. Think of it like a toddler having the ultimate meltdown because they realize their old tricks aren't working anymore. When the narcissist realizes they are losing their grip on you, they won't just walk away quietly. They will get louder, meaner, and more aggressive. They will launch a full-scale emotional assault to shock you back into submission. They might use guilt-tripping, name-calling, or even love-bombing to see if they can find a crack in your armor. This is the most critical moment of the entire process. If you cave now, you confirm to them that their aggression works. But if you hold firm, you break the cycle. If you say the conversation is over because they are being disrespectful, you must physically leave the room or hang up the phone. Do not stay to explain why you are leaving. Explaining is just another form of engagement, and engagement is what they want. Just act. Let your absence speak for you. Waiting for a narcissist to offer you a sincere apology is like waiting for rain in the middle of a scorched desert. It is a waste of your life. You are holding on to the hope that one day they will have a moment of clarity, look you in the eyes, and finally take responsibility for the wreckage they've caused. But you need to accept the brutal reality. That day is never coming. A narcissist's ego is so incredibly fragile that it cannot survive being wrong. To admit they hurt you would be to admit they aren't perfect, and their entire identity is built on the delusion of superiority. As long as you are waiting for them to validate your pain, you are still giving them ownership over your emotional well-being. You are essentially staying in a mental prison, holding the key in your hand, but refusing to turn it until the jailer says it's okay. True closure is not something you receive from the person who broke you. It is a gift that you must give to yourself. It begins the moment you decide that you no longer need their permission to heal. You have to stop seeking their acknowledgement and instead accept the facts as they are. They are incapable of change, incapable of empathy, and incapable of providing the resolution you deserve. This acceptance is incredibly painful at first, but it is the only path to real freedom. You are closing the book yourself, rather than waiting for them to write the final chapter. You are deciding that your version of the truth is enough, even if they choose to live in a lie. The ultimate victory over a narcissist isn't winning a shouting match or finally proving your point in an argument. You will never win an argument with someone who ignores reality. The greatest revenge is becoming so healthy, so grounded, and so self-assured that the narcissist becomes a distant, irrelevant memory in the background of your life. It's when you reach a point where their opinions, their lies, and their attempts to provoke you don't even register on your radar anymore. When you thrive so spectacularly that you no longer care if they see your success or acknowledge your worth, you have truly won. You aren't just surviving them, you are moving so far past them that they no longer have a seat at the table of your life. Reclaiming your power starts with the radical acceptance that you cannot change a person who refuses to see their own reflection. You have spent enough time being the healer, the fixer, and the target. It is now time to be the protector of your own peace. The journey away from narcissistic manipulation isn't about winning a war of words. It's about realizing the war was rigged from the start and choosing to walk off the battlefield entirely. Every time you choose silence over an argument, a boundary over a compromise, and your own reality over their gaslighting, you are taking a massive step toward freedom. You are not losing a relationship. You are gaining yourself back. The weight of their expectations and the constant fear of their disapproval will begin to lift the moment you stop asking for their permission to be whole. You deserve a life defined by mutual respect and genuine connection, not a life spent managing someone else's fragile ego. Now is the time to turn all that energy you spent on them back toward yourself. I want you to make a silent, non-negotiable pact today to stop the cycle of over-explaining and approval-seeking. If you found this breakdown helpful and feel ready to master the art of detachment, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into healing and high-impact self-defense strategies. If you're currently dealing with a specific situation or have a question about enforcing your boundaries, drop a comment below. Let's build a community where we trade stories of strength instead of stories of defeat. Remember, the most profound act of rebellion against a narcissist is to simply stop needing them and start seeing yourself. Take that first step today, reclaim your narrative, and start thriving.